Hi ladies, it's Suzanne. Welcome to this week's episode of Tapping Open House, the show where I come on and share with you some of the tapping basics to get you jump started into personally making tapping work for you. Tonight's topic is going to be around stress less at work. Many of you who have joined recently have been sharing with me that one of your biggest challenges is being stressed out at work. So I thought, what a great topic for us to tap about tonight. But before we get started, I wanted to introduce myself. So welcome to those of you who are new. My name is Suzanne. I'm a holistic stress relief mentor, and I help people to unlock and resolve patterns that have kept them stuck and struggling and experiencing chronic stress. And when you do that and you resolve those things, you can have improved relationships and improved health. So if you've got some area of your life that you're stuck and struggling with stress, then this is the show for you. So before we really get into the topic of tonight, which is around stress less at work, I want to share with you a couple of the tapping basics just to get you started. So if you're new to tapping, welcome. If you've been around a while, great. Tapping is a tool that helps us to literally shift our experience of stress. And how we do that is we take our fingers and we touch and tap on specific energy points of the body. And when we're doing that, we're sending a calming message to the part of the brain called the amygdala and telling it, it's okay to calm down now. We don't have to believe every thought that we're thinking. It also sends a calming message to the body to say, it's okay for the body to calm down now. We don't need to be in this stress response. You see, life is very overwhelming and very overstimulating, and we are moving through life very, very quickly. And what happens is our body's stress response stays on in this heightened place. And this is why we're experiencing stress symptoms. Mostly in this group, anxiety, overthinking, and other chronic stress symptoms, which may show up in your life as struggles in relationships and struggles with your health. And so tapping is this brilliant tool that's a self-use acupressure technique where we just tap on a couple of energy points while we're focused on our specific stress and struggle. And that really helps to shift things for us. And so we're going to do a little bit of tapping tonight specific to stressing less at work. I just want to say hi to a couple of people here. So I see Eve joined. Thanks for making it here. Yay. I'm here. You're here. Awesome. So this show is all about, it's a weekly show, and it's called Tapping Open House, where you can come on and ask me anything. So feel free to pop any questions that you have in the chat window. And also, we're going to go through some tapping specific tonight on our topic around stressing less at work. So just sharing some of the tapping basics about, what it is and what it can do for you. So tapping is this tool that helps us to shift our experience of stress. Tapping is where we're literally using our fingers to touch on energy points of the body, which sends calming messages to the brain and the body to say, it's okay to calm and settle down now. So whatever you have as patterns of being stuck in chronic stress symptoms, whether those are relationship struggles or health struggles, however you're manifesting that, tapping can help you to relieve and recover and resolve those issues to be able to come back to who you truly are. And when you're in that place, you can have, improved relationships. You can have a better wellness experience in your body. So how we tap? Well, tapping I share in 4 easy steps. The first step to tapping is notice what bothers you and how it bothers you. And this is a really, really, really important step, because the more specific that you can get with this, the more you can get at the root of what is at the basis of your pattern that's keeping you stuck in your stress and struggle. So for tonight's topic, we're talking about stress less at work. So maybe you can think of something that's really stressing you out at work. Maybe it's your commute. Maybe it's the work itself. Maybe it's a critical manager. Maybe it's difficult coworkers. Maybe it's the type of work that you have going on. Whatever it might be, that's always step number 1 of tapping, is notice what bothers you and how it bothers you. And how it bothers you is often going to show up to you as a specific experience or a storyline or maybe even a memory. And so step number 1 of tapping is go to that specific of what really bothers you and how you know it bothers you. Watch the movie in your mind. Hear those recorded voices and noises. Maybe it's just a voice that you talk to yourself with and say, oh, this is really stressing me out. Or maybe you remember someone saying something to you and you never forgot it. Or maybe you just experience it as some kind of tightness or tension or some kind of body system that is acted up in a stress response. So just notice, because that's always step number one. Step number two of tapping is to give it an intensity number on a scale of 0 to 10. How intense are you experiencing this stress at work? Maybe it's, I always go to work and the commute is horrible and it takes me an hour and a half to get there. By the time I get there, I'm already just upset and I'm frustrated. Or maybe it's, I get there and the work just piles on because I've got these coworkers and they're not supportive and they're not pulling their weight and they're being lazy. Or maybe it's, I get to work and then my boss is just so critical of me. Whatever it might be, just notice how you're experiencing the intensity of that storyline and just give it a number. And then step number 3 of tapping is to go to the part that stands out the worst. The part where you're like, oh yeah, this is the part I don't like. This is the part that really gets me anxious, really gets me overwhelmed, really gets me stressed out, whether it's whether it's your commute or your boss or your coworkers or the work or the pressure, whatever it is, go to the specifics. Go watch that movie in your mind. Go hear those voices. Go feel those sensations. And just really aim and get really specific at it. That is the key to making tapping work for you, is get to your specifics in your own language. In fact, so many of you reach out to me and ask me, what should I say when I'm tapping? And my answer is always, what is your story? How do you know it's your story? Lean into the details of your specific stress and how you would describe it. And those are the words that are going to unlock you and help you resolve your own patterns that are keeping you stuck there. So step number 1, how do you know what's bothering you and how do you know it bothers you? Step number 2, give it an intensity number on a scale of 0 to 10. Step number 3, go to the part that's the worst part, the part that really stands out. And then step number 4 is we're going to tap. So whether you've done this before or you're new, just follow along. Your job is to aim at the specifics of what really bothers you about your work stress. That's all you need to do. So get that going. Find something that's higher than a 6 in terms of intensity. And when you're there, start tapping between your eyes. Repeat out loud after me. And say, I release and let go all this work stress, all the frustration, overwhelm, out of control feelings, the intensity of it, all the meaning of this stress, the pattern of this stress in my body. It's a lot of stress. Every day I go to work and it's so stressful. All the details of this stress. And then tap on the side of the eye right here. Maybe it's my commute. Maybe it's my work and the pressure of it. Maybe it's my boss, so critical of me, so much pressure on me. Maybe it's my coworkers. Maybe I just don't like this work. Whatever it is, whatever the specifics are, I'm willing right now to let them go, process them through my body so I can recover. All those specific details that are keeping me attached to this story. I'm stuck in the middle of this story. I have to go to work every day. And this is really happening to me every day. This horrible commute, this unsupportive boss, this really big workload, this coworker conflict, this unfulfilling work, whatever it might be. My attachment to these stresses and struggles, I just let them go. I'm willing to let them go because I'm willing to receive peace. And I'm the one stressing about it. And then tap on your collarbones. This work stress, how I experience it in my body, in my mind, all the thoughts, my beliefs about this work stress, all the patterns in my emotional body that support this work stress. I just let them go. I process them, resolve them, help my body recover, just letting it go. And then take one hand and squeeze the opposite wrist a couple times and take a nice easy breath. And then blow it out and say the word clear. Now in your mind, I want you to go to do something that you really enjoy doing. Maybe you like to garden. Maybe you like to bike ride. Maybe you like to take a walk. Maybe you like to sit and relax and read. Whatever it is that you like to do, go do that thing. Go be in the experience of that. And just lean into it. Notice how easy and good it feels there. Just feel the relief of it. And then when you're there, make that a 10 inside of you. Focus on all the best parts of it. So easy, so relaxing. And when you're there, tap between your eyes again and repeat out loud after me. And say, this wonderful, wonderful place is all mine. It's a pattern inside of me. I call it relaxing, feeling good. Whatever it looks like, sounds like, feels like, I'm creating it. And tap on the side of the eye. Because I create all things. I create all things in my mind, and I create all things in my body. And this one feels really good. I can have it anytime I want, and it feels wonderful. It's easy to be here. It's effortless. No work here, and it feels so good. I can have it anytime I want. And then take one hand and squeeze the opposite wrist a couple times. Take a nice easy breath. Blow it out. Say the word peace. And I invite you to go back to the thing that was stressing you out about work. What was it? What number is it now? Has it shifted for you? Is it a different number? Or maybe you have a different specific that has come up about it. Maybe you've narrowed down exactly what bothers you about it. Tapping is a process of really getting to the root of the issue. What you know is where you're stuck. And so we go with what you know. And that's always the first question of tapping is, what's bothering you and how do you know it bothers you? So you go to that reference, that information, that proof, that specific, and you tap on that storyline in your own specific detail. And when you do that round of tapping, that starts to melt more of that storyline to get deeper, to find out what's really behind this. And so you might have more information now to be able to say, oh, I have an idea of what this might really be about. So then you tap on that. So share with me in the chat if you've been following along. What is it that you have as your specific stress at work? Did you do the tapping along with us, and did you have a shift from what the number was at first to what it is that you might be experiencing now? And if you're just joining us, then welcome. This is our Tapping Open House. It's a weekly show where I come on and answer any questions that you have about tapping, as well as do specific tap-alongs to different topics. So this week's topic is stress less at work. So feel free to ask any questions generally about tapping. Let me know if you've been tapping along with us, and share any comments or feedback in the chat window. Let me know if you have had any changes in terms of the intensity number that you're experiencing your stress at work. Also, if you're listening, I offer a 30-minute free mini tapping session to get you personally jump-started on your own tapping. There's a link in the description box of this video. Get on my calendar and we will get you tapping. Let's see. I don't see any other comments here. So we're tapping tonight about stressing less at work. So when you think about work stress, what is it? Is it that commute? Is it your boss? Is it your coworkers? Is it the amount of work and the pressure? Is it the work itself that you're just not fulfilled with anymore? What is it that is your specific stress and struggle? Get to the details of that, meaning really narrow down. Oh, it's Tom and he never gets me those spreadsheets, or it's Lucy and she never shows up on time, or it's always that red traffic light I have to stop at every day and it makes me 10 minutes late, or it's my boss and he says these things to me, or she says these things to me every day that just is so critical of me and I take it personally. Get really specific. Insert your own storyline. And if your stress isn't work, but you're still watching along, whatever your stress is, go to those details of your own storyline, because that is going to be what helps you to unlock and resolve your patterns of stress. You see, we're just a walking belief system of everything that we have as emotional habits and patterns in our body. We have these experiences and then they live in the subconscious, and the subconscious is our body. So when we have a perception of something happening, we think a thought about it, and that thought's communicated to the body using the body's energy system. And then the body has an expression of that emotion, of that feeling, of that sensation, typically based on some former experience that we had that would said, oh, this is how we feel this way. We know exactly how to do this from before. So when we're tapping, we're literally helping clear those outdated, old emotional patterns of us living in the past. That way we can get present. And when we're present, we can be calm. We have choice. We have perspective. When we're constantly living in a reactive mode, we don't have that. We're just busy living in what I call the tornado. When you're in a tornado, life is like wild, fast, and out of control. So when you tap, you help to calm down the mind, calm down the body, get to a place of peace. And from there you have perspective, and then you have choice in where you want to go. So whatever it is that you have as your stress, whether it's work stress or some other kind of stress, aim at that specific story. Tap on that detail until you loosen and wiggle it free. And once you wiggle it free, there'll either be more information for you to get deeper, to be closer to the root of it, or it's going to help you feel a little bit lighter and easier about it, because it's going to help the body have processed some of it to be able to give you some relief. So when you're tapping, you might experience some shifts as just feeling an overall sense of calm. You might have a tingly sensation. You might yawn. You might just take a big spontaneous breath. You might have some symptoms of that as being signs that your energy body is shifting, that you are shifting away from your attachment of taking that story so personal, and that is what's behind your stress and struggle. So Eve shares with us, my work is going up against my husband's lawyer for divorce with a child. I'm tapping. Total 10, trying to be calm and release right now. I'm tired, maybe an 8. That's very stressful. Yeah, definitely needing peace. So Eve, the more you can get specific on your story about what's happening in that whole storyline, I would be tapping. My work is going up against my husband's lawyer for divorce with a child. My work is going up against my husband's lawyer for divorce with a child. I would specifically tap on that detail that you shared and how intense you feel it in your body. And as you're doing that, there'll be more information that will come to you. And then you'll get to the next statement, the next storyline of it, to really, really, really get to the root. Because tapping really helps us to get to that subconscious patterning and weed it out at the root. Because we're not just here to like mow the lawn and make it look pretty. Because we really want to transform. That's why my business is called Transformed Connections. Is because we have these connections rooted in our subconscious patterning, which is just, we're a walking belief system. Largely, some of us, inherited these when we're born. And then we live based on our perception of our life experience, which either anchor in those subconscious beliefs, or we add new ones. And life is just moving so fast that we are really diminishing our self-worth, staying in patterns of being overwhelmed, living with chronic stress like we never have before. It's no longer an option to just be kind of winging it through life. You need a stress relief toolbox. You need tools and skills to keep you emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually fit. That way you can go out there in the big bad world, because it goes fast out there. And we're trying to keep up with the pace of computers, which is just insane. Our bodies are like, oh my God, where are we going today? This is really stressful. The body's stress response is not meant to stay in the on position all day, every day, for periods of weeks, months, years. This is why we're all manifesting symptoms of anxiety, swings of depression, chronic stress symptoms. Their autoimmune diseases are popping up more and more frequently. We've got people who are really in places of just being overwhelmed and can't stay focused. And I get that society breeds that, and that is very, very difficult for us. But this is why we have to learn to get focused. And so many of the posts I make on this page are really exercises to help us learn to be calm, be present, be supportive of each other as women, because we have really been suppressed for so long and really pitted against each other and got to a point where we really were just so independent of each other. But truly, our power is in the strength, our strength is in the power of our connection with each other. And when we collaborate and connect and nurture and support each other, we can really help each other through this journey of being able to reclaim our power and the power of being able to stay connected in our being nurturers and supporters of each other. And tapping will help us get there. It's going to help us through the journey of that transformation. So, I always say my superpower is being, compassionately present with people that I'm with. That way I give them the opportunity to regulate themselves to be able to be present. And with that, it's giving you permission to be who you authentically are and accept that. I lived for decades being judged by the big bad world because of my size. I used to be over 450 pounds, walking the planet, completely unworthy, and living with chronic stress and anxiety. And it really was something inside of me that had to rise up to say, no, I'm worth more than this. To be able to share my vulnerability of, okay, I'm going to expose myself with boundaries that were self-honoring and self-respecting, but a place where I could actually feel like I'm living free. I wasn't chained by society's rules or what they thought of me any longer. And I was very, very anxious to that for a long time. I'm not saying it doesn't happen to me still, but I've got my stress relief toolbox, and tapping is the top tool that I have in there. So Denise just suggested to Eve to keep tapping and start a yoga practice. Got her through her divorce. Yeah, I love yoga so much. Yeah. Well, so if anybody has any questions about tapping, feel free to pop them in the chat. This is the show where I come on every week. It's a live video show where you can ask your questions about tapping, learn some of the tapping basics to kind of get you jump started. We always pick a topic every week. This week's topic was stressed less at work. If you're joining us now and you've got some stress at work, feel free to watch the replay after I post this. And we went through a really great tap in order to really help us be able to, find what is at the root of our stressing at work, to be able to start to process that through our body, update the programs that we have within us, and be able to recover. See if anybody has any questions about tapping. So have you been, let's see. Denise, if you're asking if you'd like to connect with me, there's a link in the description box from my website, and also to get on my calendar for 30 minutes. I offer to every woman in this group who wants to learn tapping, who wants to jumpstart making tapping personally work for them to, reprogram their stress and revitalize their energy and reclaim their power. I'm giving you 30 minutes of my time to be able to help you specifically understand how to make tapping work for you, what to say, when to do it, how to do it. So there's a okay, my video just was a little wobbly. Hopefully you're all still there. Laura asks, for people just starting out and feel as though they are drowning in their anxiety, depression, and physical issues, where do you recommend beginning? So Laura, if you haven't checked it out already, I have an intro to tapping video. It's in the pinned post at the top of the group page and the welcome post. But if you'd like, you can send me a private message and I'll just share the link with you. It's a short, I think 8 or 9 minute video that'll give you the basics on how to get started. Also, if you're interested, Laura, get on my calendar. Get on my calendar for 30 minutes. There's a link in the description box of this video that I'm talking through right now for you to find time in your calendar for us to meet and connect. And I can hear a little bit about learn a little bit about what you're going through, and then get you tapping specific to being able to, get out of the pool, stop drowning in your anxiety and depression. There is a way out. Okay, awesome. So anybody else have any questions about tapping? It's this really powerful tool, and it's really simple, and it's best used in the moment. Certainly, I offer transformation mentoring and online programs to be able to help you, through a process that I've laid out, a methodology that I created for it. But this is a technique that when you're in the moment of your stress and drowning in your anxiety, feeling the deep, deep darkness of your depression, feeling your chronic stress symptoms as physical in your body, that is exactly the time when you should be tapping, because you're the closest to the program that is behind what it is that's triggering your stress and struggle. Hi, Tina. Thanks for being here. Yeah, if you just joined us, we did some tapping earlier on stressing less at work, which seems to be a big popular topic these days with everybody. But if you have any other questions about tapping, how to get started. Also, I have a YouTube channel. I don't know if you all have checked that out, but I've got a lot of tapping basics on there. My business is called Transformed Connections, and so you can look up on YouTube, and you can subscribe to my channel or just watch the videos on there. I've got a lot of really short videos that answer a lot of the tapping basics to help you get over any questions that you might have. Just reading anything else. So Denise asks, what would I say as I tap for losing weight? So Denise, I did a whole video on that about a week or two ago, and outlining exactly, how I approached weight loss for myself. So I can share with you the link to that video. That way you can watch that video. But really start with your weight story. To make it simple, write down your weight story. When did this start? When did you start noticing this? Were you always a fat kid? Were you just overweight now? When did the weight come on? What did you eat? What are your triggers to, to emotional overeating? Why are you carrying this weight? What do you think is healthy food and unhealthy food? I would make a list of all of what you have as your specific weight story, and then start tapping on that detail to be able to kind of get to the root of what's really going on underneath it. Weight is always about relationships. It's always about not being able to feel safe in expressing yourself, whether it was because you were conditioned not to speak your authentic self, or you got involved in relationships that you just had to, take care of other people, or you need to stay safe from them. Weight is always about relationships. So when you start to resolve those relationship conflicts inside of you, the weight no longer needs to be on your body to be either something that you eat to suppress the emotion, or also have on your body to be able to deflect people's attention from coming at you. That way you have less of a conflict with people. But Denise, get on my calendar and we can get some tapping for you for weight loss going. Laura says, yeah, she's heard about it, but it kind of sounds like quackery. I know. Believe me, I've been doing it 15 years, and I used to tell people, oh, if you have anxiety, just, tap under your eye. And they were like, all right, crazy lady. See you later, crazy lady. I think now people are a little bit more like, all right, well, I'll try it. So I'm glad more people are more open to it. And there's a lot more people out there making it more mainstream and popular, which I think is making it more digestible and accessible and real to people. So that's why I come on here and just try and debunk any kind of like quackery or myths about it. It really is this powerful tool that you can use in the moment. Whenever you're in the middle of your stress and struggle, it is effective in the moment. It is the best time to use it. Certainly if you've got something bigger and long-lasting going on, like a chronic stress, and you need a little bit more help, get on my calendar. Happy to show you how I go through my methodology and share everything with you. And that way you can take it and use it, or if you want to work at a deeper level with me, we can work together on that. So this is our tapping open house. If you have any questions about tapping, pop them in the chat. I'm happy to answer any questions. There's no silly questions. Tapping is this powerful tool that helps us to be able to reprogram our stress. Why do we have stress? It's because we have memories, we have beliefs, we have emotional patterns in our body based on what we experience. You know, all of our power is in the now. You're sitting there, or you're standing there, or you're driving, or however you're watching this right now, you're having an experience in the now. Nothing from your past exists anymore. It's not real, but you carry it forward into your present moment through the emotional patterns and habits as they live in memories and beliefs in your body. And so when you're tapping, you're helping your body process those programs to be able to move through you and complete and release them and recover from them. That way we're not living in that old stress response from that old story, no matter where it came from or when it means or how long it's been. As our body starts to resolve that stress response and we come back to a place of calm and recovery, we can remove those programs from our subconscious and we can start to be able to stay focused on what it is that we want. The thing is, we can't stay focused on what we want when we have so much evidence and proof of the past that keeps us back there. And either we're back there and we're hashing it out in our mind and our body and we're just anchoring that stuff, or we're worried about the future. You know, I use some simple analogies like, you know that song that you just can't stand, but you know every word to? And you're like, oh God, there's that song again. Oh God, I hate that song, but it's always, oh, I know every word. Don't play that song. Don't make me, I don't want to hear it because that's going to be in my mind all day long. Those are the memories that are outdated and old and painful that you think about and you go, oh, I don't like that. It doesn't feel good to remember that. That's living in your emotional body as a habit and a pattern. And tapping helps us to weed those things out. That way they're no longer a reference in your body. That way you go, how do you sing that song again? Oh, I don't even want to remember. I couldn't remember. I can't remember it now and it's gone. I let it go. I just did a video on letting it go the other day. Letting it go isn't about letting anything go specifically. It's about processing it through your body. And tapping helps us do that, make that process happen for us. And so we're not stuck on, oh, they said this, they did this, that memory, I've never forgotten it, we don't want to talk about it. It's like talking about that song over and over and over again, like singing it in your mind, going, I hate the song, and you keep singing the words to it, and I hate the song, and you keep singing the words to it. So hopefully that makes sense. If not, let me know. Good, Laura, get your booty on my calendar. Yeah, this is, tapping is a very holistic approach. Yeah, Laura, I offer transformation mentoring coaching. So when you get on my calendar, we can talk about some of the options of things I offer and see what fits for you. And truly, you know, my experience has been 15 years of tapping and a lot of various studies that have helped me unravel my own stress and struggle. I lived with chronic anxiety and used to take a lot of medication and was an emotional overeater and used to be hundreds of pounds. And it took me, oh my gosh, probably a good 5 or 6 years of all of what I had learned to really make a, you know, an effective shift that got me to a place of peace. And it was a lot of like, did this work? Did that work? How do I put it all together? Now, 15 years later, like I got it and I got it figured out and I'm here to share it with you all. And I share it with you all as in the tips and the strategies that I share on this group page. And so they're not just meaningless exercises. They really are for you to engage and practice and adopt these new things into your life to be able to help you feel better about yourself, to recover from those old outdated patterns where you're stressing and struggling and being anxious and depressed and having chronic stress symptoms. So Denise asks, can I share a little science behind tapping the meridians or the nerves connected in those spots where you tap? Sure. So there also is a post that you'll see that I have on here often where I share about the meaning behind the meridians. So our body is energy. Well, tapping, one of the tapping is rooted partly in Chinese medicine. And we've got these energy rivers in our body called meridians. And on these meridians are hundreds of energy points, and they're all over our body. And so the tapping points that I like to use, that I learned from one of my mentors, are the tapping points aligned with fight or flight. So the one that's between your eye is the eyebrow point. This is the bladder meridian, and it represents emotional trauma. And then on the side of the eye here is the gallbladder meridian, and that represents anger. And then under the eye is the stomach meridian, and that represents anxiety. And then right here on your collarbones is your kidney meridian, and that represents fear. And then why we squeeze our whole wrist is because there's meridians that run under the bottom of our arm and on the top of our arm out to our fingertips. So our thumb is the lung meridian, and that represents grief. And then the index finger is the large intestine, and that represents stubbornness. And then the middle finger is the pericardium, which is the sac around the heart, which represents jealousy. You skip the ring finger, go to the pinky. On the side of the pinky is the heart meridian, that represents shock. And then on the side of the hand is the small intestine, and that represents fear of a new experience. So when you grab and you squeeze your whole wrist around, you're getting all those meridians that run under the bottom and the top of your arm out to your fingertips. So you may have seen some people tapping like this. You may have seen some people tapping like this. You may have seen some people tapping each individual finger. I just squeeze the wrist. It just makes it easy breezy. So what's happening when we're actually tapping is we are helping the energy system, which is a real part of our nervous system, circulate the energy in our body. You see, what happens is we have a stress response. And when life is stressful, we contract. We kind of take a breath and we hold everything in and we stiffen up, and our body systems go, all 100% resources to survival. What do we need to do? So we stop doing the things that are just the general maintenance of keeping us alive. And we stay in that contracted place, and all of our resources go to be able to keep us in survival mode. And so what we're doing when we're tapping is we're helping the energy body to move and circulate. We're helping the nervous system down-regulate off the stress response to come back to calm, normalizing all of our body systems to say, safe to calm down now. It's okay to calm down now. Calm down that racing heart. Relax those tense, tight muscles. Start to breathe normally. Calm down. So we're literally helping the body be able to process the experience of stress. Of course, it comes with a storyline because we love drama. We're like, oh, what's the story? And then we get into the reaction of it, and then we tell 100 of our friends, and everyone's invested in it, and that's why we kind of stay in the past, because then all of a sudden we see our friends and they go, well, tell us what's going on. How's that story going? And you're like, oh, I was trying to let that go, but yeah, let me go back there now, which is going to fuel the pattern and keep it anchored in your body. This is why, when something happens to you, you have to just say, let it go, let it go, let it go. I don't care about this anymore. I don't have to stay attached to it. I don't have to stay personalized to it. Let it go, and don't tell everybody about it. That way nobody else is invested in it. That way you can truly give yourself some peace and relief in your body. So hopefully, Denise, that was a little bit of a crash course on some of that information for you. Let me know what you think about it. Yeah, Laura, I've definitely been through it, that's for sure. In fact, I have a new client the other day, and she sat across to me and she said, oh my God, you totally get this, and you've been through this. And I was like, yep, been there, done that, got the t-shirt. Yeah. Laura, you're welcome. I'm glad that you understand some of the pressure points now. Okay. Awesome. Well, this is our show, Tapping Open House. It's a weekly show where I come on, answer any questions that you have about tapping, share with you some of the tapping basics to get you jump started, also share with you a tap on a specific topic. Our topic tonight was stress less at work. If you're just joining us now, or wherever you may have caught this in this replay, feel free to go back and watch from the beginning. And we did a great tap on all different components that might contribute to stressing at work, and how to be able to loosen and let them go, process them, resolve them, and be able to update your programs to be able to give you some peace and relief in the workplace. As always, I invite you to put yourself on my calendar, get 30 minutes on with me. I'm happy to get you jump started and giving yourself this relief that you're looking for from your own stress and struggle. Tapping is a self-use acupressure technique, so it really is something that you want to use in the moment. So even if you don't ever get on my calendar, continue to stay with the group and tap along with us. But if you're really, really interested to like get at the details of what is behind, keeping you locked in patterns that are bad habits, unhealthy relationships, chronic health issues, get on my calendar. I'm happy to get you jump started with it. And if you want to work in a deeper way with me, we can talk about that then. So until next week, I will see you all then. If you have any questions, feel free to let me know. Pop them in the chat in this video. I'm sure I will be on some more live videos between now and then. But thank you so much for being here and listening to me, and I'll see you next time.